Alright, so a continuation off of the last video that I just made. I went ahead and stepped out and I wanted to do a little video of what I've done. Um, what we got here is the very end. This is going to be the entrance. It's actually upside down right now. This little bit right here at the bottom, I got a 4-foot or 5-foot window that's going to be able to fit right in that area. And then right over in here, we're going to toss in a door. It's going to be the butt end of it. Took me a while to kind of work out the details of how I wanted to do the roof. I actually wanted to originally do more of like your traditional like slanted roof like that, but I'm not going to be able to. Something to do with the door height and the window heights, it just made it very tricky to try to figure out that. So I went ahead and decided I'm going to do a slanted roof. I'm actually going to do the slanted roof lower near the cab and then higher near the butt end of the truck camper, which is what we're looking at. So that's going to be about 8 foot. I'm probably going to drop it down 3 to 5 inches at the front. I haven't really worked out the details of what I wanted to do with that yet, but in due time. This is the other part of the build that I've got so far. This part right here is actually going to sit in the back of the truck, right over there. It's going to sit up against that window. It's going to be a little bit of a gap, but that top board right here, it sits, I think it was about 6 inches above the cab. We've got a fair amount of room to work with on the inside. I'm making an 8-foot tall ceiling, so I won't be fighting for room. What we got here is this little bit right here is actually going to sit in the bed of the truck. It is, that's right there is where this sits in the bed, and then it comes up over the edge. This part right here is actually going to come out, and then it's going to come up the rest of the way. I haven't really measured anything in that department yet. I've just measured out what I needed. Most of the measurements have been pretty easy. I did nail a couple things wrong, but it was an easy fix, and it was only 2 times. Just knock the board out and redo some nails. It's actually going to be sitting out here on top of some pallets to keep it off of the ground. Like I said, this bottom part right here, all of this is the sub floor for it. That piece is not nailed down or anything right now because I need to finish that out. So how am I going to do that, or at least the general idea is trying to keep weight down. And on the sides for the sheathing, I'm using the foam insulation, not insulation, foam sheathing. It's got a R value. It's super lightweight compared to OSB board. And I just lifted one of those 4x8s yesterday, and they are just insane in weight. So I'm trying to cut down that as little as possible. The only place that I know for a fact that I'm using OSB board is on the flooring inside, so that my floors will be level. And when I walk on them, they don't get crazy. On the inside, I'm not going to worry about any of that. I've got some pallet wood cut out. I'm going to cut it down to piece, sand it out, stain it. That's the goal anyway. I do need to get some more pallets to do that. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm going to figure out what I want to do for a vapor barrier. I'm going to go to Home Depot tonight or tomorrow and kind of walk around and make my decision, because I don't want to use the OSB, and I can't use the foam sheathing on the bottom because it's foam, and this is going to weigh a fair bit of amount. So once I figure that out, I've actually got rolls of 20 inches by, I don't know, I think it was like 30 foot or, no, 50 foot, aluminum valley flashing, I think is what it's called. So I'm going to basically just line it, this whole thing, and use that for the undersides. I'm actually going to use that on the sides of these two, anything that sits in the bed of the truck, and then the parts that are going to come out right here, I'm going to do the bottom of those, and then the part that sits inside of the bed by the back of the window, and then the part that's going to come out. I'm going to do all of that in the flashing. I think it's going to be it's going to work out pretty nicely, and then everything else that is built upwards on the side that sits out of the truck, I'm just gonna do vinyl siding, and then the roof I'm gonna do with a metal roof. But yeah, that covered a lot of information. I didn't want to keep this too long or anything. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna tinker around throughout the week. I work Monday through Friday this week, and then my next day off is Saturday. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this taken care of on Saturday, maybe Sunday, depending on if I work or not. I'm not sure. I was actually supposed to have a friend come out and help me today, but that didn't pan out. He didn't show up. In fact, I didn't hear from him at all. And I got one other person who wants to come out and help me out with this build, but he's in New Orleans right now at some sort of fancy festival because he's a jerk and is gonna go have fun. Right? Alright. Well, I'll catch you guys later, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. See ya.